Empire on edge. Unknown ship detected. It's not an object. It's moving fast. The night shift on the Kravix battlecruiser was always quiet. Commander Zelthar liked it that way. He stood on the bridge with his 3 eyes half closed, watching the endless stars through the viewing screen. His ship, the Dominion's Fist, was one of the most powerful vessels in the Kravix Empire. For 300 years, his people had ruled this part of space without any real challenge. The sensor arrays stretched across 17 star systems. They could detect anything that moved through space. Every asteroid, every piece of space junk, every ship that came near their territory, nothing escaped their notice. That was how the Empire stayed strong and safe. Ensign Krill sat at her station, her tentacles moving across the controls with practiced ease. She had been monitoring the sensors for 6 hours and was looking forward to the end of her shift. Then something appeared on her screen that made her pause. "Commander, I have something strange here," Krill said, her voice uncertain. Zelthar opened all 3 eyes and turned toward her. "What kind of strange?" "There is an object at the edge of our sensor range. It is moving very fast." "How fast?" Zelthar walked over to her station. Fast objects were not that unusual. Comets moved fast. Some ships moved fast. But something in Krill's voice made him pay attention. "0.7 light speed, sir." Zelthar felt his body go still. That was impossible. The fastest Kravix ships could only reach 0.4 light speed, and those were their newest military vessels. No other species in this sector had ships that fast. He had fought in 2 wars and explored dozens of systems. He knew what was possible and what was not. "Are you sure the sensors are working correctly?" he asked. "I have checked 3 times, sir. The readings are accurate." Zelthar looked at the data himself. The object was small, maybe 80 meters long. That was tiny compared to most warships, but the energy readings coming from it were very strong, too strong for something that size. "What is the energy signature?" Krill worked her controls for a moment. "I have never seen anything like it, sir. It does not match any known vessel in our database. The power output is incredible for such a small ship." "Where is it going?" "That is the other strange thing, Commander. It is heading directly into our territory, and it is making course corrections." Zelthar understood what that meant. This was not a piece of space debris or a comet on a random path. This was a ship under intelligent control. Someone was flying it, and they were coming into Kravix space on purpose. "Sound the alert. Wake the captain immediately," Zelthar ordered. "I want full sensor scans of that ship. Find out everything you can about it." The soft alarm began to pulse through the ship. Other crew members who had been resting started to arrive on the bridge. The weapons officer took his station. The communications officer began running through all the standard hailing frequencies. "Sir, I am sending greetings on all channels." No response, the communications officer reported. "Keep trying. Use every language we know." Zelthar watched the unknown ship on the main screen. It continued to move toward them with steady purpose. Whoever was flying it either did not know about the Kravix Empire or did not care. Both possibilities were troubling. Captain Vorn arrived on the bridge within 5 minutes. He was an old warrior who had commanded this ship for 20 years. His armor was still being fastened as he walked, but his eyes were sharp and alert. "Show me," Vorn said simply. Zelthar pointed to the display. "Unknown vessel, moving at 0.7 light speed. No response to our hails. Energy signature unlike anything in our records. It is heading directly toward the inner systems." Vorn studied the data with the calm of someone who had seen many battles. "How long until it reaches the border of restricted space?" 2 hours at current speed, sir. "And we cannot match its speed?" "No, sir. Even at maximum engine power, we would fall behind." Vorn's face showed no emotion, but Zelthar knew him well enough to see the concern in his eyes. "Have you tried all communication methods?" "Yes, Captain. 47 different languages, all standard frequencies. The ship receives our signals but does not respond. Then we follow protocol. Bring all weapons online. Target their engines with precision. I want a warning shot prepared. If they cross into restricted space without permission, we will disable them. The weapons officer worked quickly. Weapons ready, Captain. Targeting systems locked on their drive section. Everyone on the bridge waited. The minutes passed slowly. The unknown ship continued forward without slowing down. It would cross the restricted border in less than an hour now. "Sir, I am receiving a transmission," the communications officer suddenly announced. Every head turned toward her station. "Put it through," Vorn ordered. A voice filled the bridge. It was speaking perfect Kravik standard language, but with an accent nobody recognized. The voice was male, calm, and strangely relaxed. "This is Captain Jake Morrison of the Earth vessel Freedom's call. We have received your warnings and thank you for the greeting. We are on a peaceful exploration mission and would like to establish diplomatic relations with your empire. We will maintain our current course and speed until you provide coordinates for a proper meeting." Freedom's call out. Silence filled the bridge for several seconds. "Earth?" Vorn repeated. "There is no planet called Earth in any of our star charts." "No, sir," confirmed the navigation officer. "I have checked our complete database. No civilization by that name exists in our records." How do they know our language so perfectly? Krill wondered aloud. That was indeed a very good question. The Kravik's language was complex and had taken most alien species years to learn properly. Yet this human spoke it as if he had been born speaking it. More importantly, Zelthar added, how does he know where to go? He said he would maintain course. That means he already knows where our important systems are located. Vorn's mandibles clicked together, a sign of deep thought. Send a response, tell them to reduce speed immediately, and prepare to be boarded for inspection. Make it clear that failure to comply will be seen as an act of war. The message was sent. Everyone waited for a response. Minutes passed with no answer from the human ship. It continued forward at the same incredible speed. They are now entering restricted space, Captain, the navigation officer reported. Vorn prepared to give the order to fire. Then the communications officer spoke up. Sir, they are responding. They are reducing speed to sublight. They agree to meet with us but request that the meeting happen at a neutral location. Neutral location? Vornen said. They are in our space. We choose the location. But even as he said it, Zelthar could see the problem. These humans had crossed into Kravik's space with ease. They had technology that seemed more advanced in some ways, and they were talking like equals, not like frightened explorers who had stumbled into a powerful empire. Send word to Fleet Command, Vorn said quietly. Tell them we have made contact with a new species called humans. Tell them these humans may be more than they appear to be, and tell them to prepare for anything. As the crew worked to arrange a meeting with the humans, Zelthar looked at the sensor readings again. One small ship with 5 crew members according to the life sign scans. Just 5 beings had flown across half the empire in a tiny vessel, speaking their language, knowing their territory, and showing no fear at all. Something told him that the Kravik's empire was about to learn a very important lesson about the galaxy. There were still surprises out there among the stars, and some of those surprises came from a place called Earth. Empire on edge, unknown ship detected. It's not an object. It's moving fast. The news of the human ship traveled fast through the Kravik's military network. Within hours, Admiral Kresh knew about it. He stood in the central command room on Kravos, Prime, the capital world, watching the tactical displays with growing interest. 3 more battlecruisers had been sent to join Dominion's Fist. 7 destroyers formed a perimeter around the area where the human ship had agreed to stop. Tell me everything we know, Admiral Kresh said to his staff. General Thoss stepped forward with a data tablet. The vessel is called Freedom's Call. It measures approximately 80 meters in length. Our scans show 5 life forms aboard. The ship's hull is made of materials we cannot fully identify from this distance. The power generation system appears to be some kind of controlled fusion reactor, but it operates at efficiency levels we have never seen before. And their weapons? They have missile launchers and what appear to be energy weapons. The exact specifications are unclear because their hull blocks most of our deep scans. But based on the power readings, those weapons could be quite dangerous. Kresh studied the image of the human ship on the screen. It looked sleek and well designed. Not like a military vessel trying to look threatening, but Not like a simple exploration ship either. It was something in between. Have they made any demands? No, sir. They simply asked for a meeting to discuss diplomatic relations. Captain Morrison has been very polite in all communications. He answers our questions and follows our instructions. But he also makes it clear that they will not be pushed around. Confident, Kresh observed. Very confident, sir. That worried Kresh more than open hostility would have. In his 40 years of military service, he had learned that truly dangerous enemies were the ones who stayed calm under pressure. The ones who acted like they had nothing to fear usually had good reasons for that attitude. Where do they claim to come from? A planet called Earth, located in what they call the Orion Arm. The coordinates they provided are nearly 20,000 light-years from here. We have sent scout ships to investigate, but it will take them several weeks to reach that location and return. 20,000 light-years, Kresh repeated. And they crossed that distance in how long? According to Captain Morrison, they left Earth 5 years ago, but they have visited several other systems along the way. Their actual travel time through our space was approximately 3 days. The room fell quiet. 3 days to cross half the Empire. It had taken Kravik's ships weeks to cover that same distance. Their technology is clearly advanced, Thos continued, but we do not know how advanced. This could be their most advanced ship, or it could be completely ordinary for them. We have no context. What is your recommendation, General? I recommend we proceed carefully. Meet with them as they requested. Learn as much as we can, but keep our fleet on high alert. If this is some kind of trick or invasion scout, we need to be ready. Kresh nodded. Arrange a meeting. I want it to take place on Station 7, the orbital platform above this world. Bring the humans there under heavy escort. I want 200 guards in that docking bay, and I want every scanning device we have pointed at their ship. Yes, sir. When should we schedule the meeting? As soon as possible. I want to meet these humans and see what they are really after. 2 days later, the Freedom's call approached Station 7. The orbital platform was massive, one of the largest structures the Kraviks had ever built. It served as both a military base and a diplomatic center. Dozens of ships docked there every day. But none had ever attracted as much attention as this small human vessel. Commander Zelthar watched from the command center as the human ship glided smoothly into the docking bay. Its movements were precise and controlled. The pilot knew exactly what they were doing. The ship settled onto the landing pad with barely a sound, its engines powering down in a controlled sequence. All security teams in position, reported the security chief. Scanning equipment is active. We are reading 5 life signs aboard the ship as expected. What can the scanners tell us about them? Zelthar asked. Not much. They are carbon-based life forms, similar to us in basic biology. They breathe oxygen. They appear to be roughly our size, but their ship's hull is blocking detailed scans. We cannot see weapons or equipment they might be carrying. Zelthar watched as the human ship's airlock began to cycle. This was it. The moment when the Kravik's empire would meet humanity face to face. The airlock door opened. The first human stepped out. Captain Jake Morrison looked remarkably ordinary. He stood about 2 meters tall with 2 arms and 2 legs. His skin was a medium brown color and his hair was dark and cut short. He wore a uniform that was blue and white with symbols that nobody recognized. But what struck Zelthar most was the human's expression. He was smiling. 4 more humans followed him out of the ship. A woman with red hair and sharp green eyes introduced herself as Commander Lisa Grant. A tall man with very dark skin named Lieutenant Ben Hayes. A woman with blonde hair called Dr. Karen Wright, and a younger man with an easy smile named Lieutenant Chris Palmer. Admiral Kresh stepped forward to greet them. He was flanked by 20 guards in full armor. The humans did not seem bothered by this show of force. Captain Morrison, Kresh said formally. I am Admiral Kresh, commander of the Kravik's Imperial Fleet. Welcome to Kravos Prime. Jake extended his hand. Kresh hesitated for a moment before realizing it was a greeting gesture. He reached out with his primary appendage and grasped the human's hand. It was surprisingly warm and strong. Thank you, Admiral. It is an honor to meet you. We have been looking forward to this for a long time. You have caused quite a disturbance in our space, Kresh said, studying the human's face. I apologize for that. We did not mean to alarm anyone. We just wanted to meet our neighbors and hopefully make some friends. Your neighbors are 20,000 light years away. Jake's smile grew wider. True, but with good engines, that distance does not seem so far anymore. We believe the galaxy is full of intelligent life. We want to meet as many species as we can and learn from them. Dr. Wright stepped forward carrying a small case. We have brought gifts from Earth, cultural databases, scientific information, art, and music from our world. We hope these can help you understand us better. Kresh found himself uncertain how to respond. These humans were not acting like explorers who had stumbled into a powerful empire. They were not showing fear or trying to prove how tough they were. They were acting like friendly neighbors who had stopped by for a visit. I have many questions, Kresh said. How did you learn our language so quickly? How did you cross our empire so fast? How did you know where to find our capital world? All reasonable questions, Jake agreed. We learned your language by listening to your public broadcasts. We have been monitoring your communications for several months while we approached. Your people talk a lot, which made it easy to learn. As for our speed, well, humans have made some good progress in engine technology. We are pretty good at building things when we need to. And finding your capital was simple. We just followed the patterns of ship traffic and communication signals. The busiest, most central location had to be your capital. Ben added, we also have some very smart computer systems that helped with the analysis. Technology can be very useful when you are far from home. 5 crew members, Kresh observed, changing the topic. That seems like a very small crew for a long-range exploration mission. Lisa spoke up. We prefer small teams, easier to make decisions quickly, less chance of conflicts, and all of us are trained in multiple areas. I can fly the ship if Chris needs rest. Ben can handle medical issues if Karen is busy. Small crews work well for us. And if you face danger? Kresh asked. 5 people cannot fight a battle. Chris grinned. We would rather avoid battles, Admiral. But if we had to defend ourselves, the Freedom's Call has some pretty good defensive systems. We are small, but we are not helpless. There was something in the way he said it that made Zelthar pay attention. It was not a threat or a boast. It was just a simple statement of fact. These humans believed they could defend themselves if needed. Kresh decided to try a different approach. What does Earth want from us? What is the real purpose of your mission? Jake's expression became more serious. Earth wants to know that we are not alone in the universe, Admiral. For thousands of years, humans wondered if there was other intelligent life out there. Now we know there is. We want to establish peaceful relations. We want to trade ideas and technology. We want to learn from you and hopefully teach you some things too. We believe that cooperation makes everyone stronger and safer. A noble sentiment, Kresh said, though his tone suggested he was not entirely convinced. We mean it, Jake said quietly. Earth has seen enough wars among our own people. We know what conflict costs. We would rather build friendships than fight battles. But we will do what we must to protect ourselves and our interests. There it was again. That calm confidence. These humans talked about peace but made it clear they could handle trouble if it came to them. I will need to consult with the Imperial Council, Kresh said. You will remain here as our guests while we discuss how to proceed. That is fine, Jake agreed. Though I should mention that we sent a Empire on edge, unknown ship detected, it's not an object. It's moving fast. The guest quarters were comfortable enough, though Jake noticed the guards stationed outside the door. He did not blame the Kraviks for being careful. If the situation were reversed and an alien ship showed up near Earth, humans would be just as cautious. Well, that went about as expected, Lisa said, sitting down on one of the alien chairs. It was designed for a different body shape but worked well enough. The Admiral does not trust us yet, Chris observed. Did you see how many weapons were pointed at us in that docking bay? At least 200, Ben said calmly, plus automated defense systems in the ceiling. Very thorough security measures. Karen was already setting up her equipment, scanning the room with a small device. No listening devices that I can detect. Either they are very confident, or their surveillance technology is better than ours. Probably both, Jake said. He walked to the window and looked out at the Kravik's capital world below. It was beautiful from orbit, with blue oceans and green continents. Not so different from Earth, really. They will be investigating us right now, trying to figure out if we are a threat or an opportunity. How long before our scout message reaches them? Lisa asked. Jake checked his watch. Earth dispatched 3 ships when we sent our first contact signal. They should arrive in this sector in about 2 weeks. By then we will either have established good relations or things will have gone very wrong. You think they might try to take hostile action? Chris looked worried. I do not think so, Jake replied. The Kraviks are not stupid. They have held an empire for 300 years. You do not do that by making rash decisions. Admiral Kresh is gathering information. He will want to know what Earth is like before he decides how to treat us. Speaking of which, Ben said, I managed to get some data from their communication networks while we were approaching. Their technology is impressive. Not quite at our level in some areas, but close, and their industrial capacity is enormous. They have shipyards in a dozen systems. Karen nodded. I noticed their ships use a different type of faster-than-light drive. It folds space instead of warping it like ours does. Less efficient, but probably easier to maintain. Clever engineering for what they have. That is what we need to emphasize, Jake said. We are not here to conquer or replace them. We are here to be partners. Different strengths, different technologies, but working together. Do you think they will go for it? Lisa asked. They will if we show them it is in their best interest. And if we show them that trying to fight us would be too costly. Lisa raised an eyebrow. I thought we were here for peace. We are. But peace works best when both sides respect each other's strength. The Kraviks respect power, so we show them we have power but we use it wisely. A soft chime sounded at the door. A Kravik servant entered bringing food and water. The servant did not speak but set everything down carefully and left. Jake noticed the guard outside the door had increased from 2 to 4. They are getting more nervous, Chris observed. Good, Jake said, surprising everyone. Nervous means they are taking us seriously. Nervous means they are thinking hard about their next move. That gives us time for Earth's investigation reports to arrive. Meanwhile, in a secure conference room elsewhere on the station, Admiral Kresh was meeting with his top intelligence officers. The room was filled with holographic displays showing everything they had learned about the humans so far. We have analyzed their ship as thoroughly as our sensors allow, said Commander Irix, the chief intelligence officer. The hull material is a composite we have never seen before. It is incredibly strong and also blocks most scanning attempts. Their power core generates approximately 3 times the energy of our ships that size, and their engines use principles that our scientists are still trying to understand. Show me their weapon systems, Kresh ordered. Irix brought up a new display. They have 6 missile tubes and 4 energy weapon emplacements. The missiles appear to be smart weapons with independent guidance systems. The energy weapons are some kind of focused plasma cannons, but with a much longer range than ours. In a direct fight, that small ship could probably disable one of our destroyers before being destroyed itself. 1 ship against a destroyer? General Thoth sounded skeptical. That seems unlikely. I agree it sounds strange, Irix said. But the math supports it. Their weapons have superior range and accuracy. They would be able to attack from a distance where our weapons could not effectively respond. Kresh absorbed this information silently. What about their crew? What have we learned about humans themselves? Very little, sir. They are biological beings, carbon-based, similar to several species we know. They breathe oxygen, they eat organic matter. They appear to have similar lifespans to us, but we cannot scan them in detail because of their uniforms. Those uniforms seem to have some kind of shielding built into them. Shielding in their clothing? Yes, sir. Very advanced technology. It blocks biological scans without being obvious about it. They really do not want us to know too much about them, Thoth observed. Can you blame them? Kresh said. They are 5 beings surrounded by an empire of trillions. I would be careful too. He turned back to Irix. What about their behavior? The psychological analysis? Irix pulled up another report. This is where things get interesting, sir. Captain Morrison and his crew show all the signs of experienced military personnel. They are calm under pressure. They work together smoothly. They notice details about their surroundings. But they also seem genuinely interested in peaceful contact. Our experts believe they are telling the truth about wanting diplomatic relations. People can want peace and still be dangerous, Kresh pointed out. Exactly, sir. In fact, The most dangerous people are often the ones who prefer peace but are fully prepared for war. These humans fit that profile perfectly. A junior officer entered the room with urgent news. Admiral, we have received preliminary reports from the scout ships you sent to Earth's coordinates. Every head in the room turned toward the officer. Already? Kresh was surprised. They should not have reached Earth yet. They have not, sir. But they have reached the outer edges of human space, and they have found something we need to see. The officer activated a new holographic display. It showed a star system with multiple orbital installations and ships moving between them. Lots of ships. This is a human colony system called New Boston, the officer explained. It is one of 11 colony systems humans have established outside their home system. The scouts did not enter the system but observed from a distance. As you can see, there are significant orbital facilities and a large civilian fleet. How large? Thos demanded. At least 100 ships visible from long range, sir, and several space stations capable of housing thousands of people. The room went silent. This was one colony system, one small outpost, and it had more infrastructure than some Kravix core worlds. Continue toward Earth, Kresh ordered, but tell the scouts to be extremely careful. I want information, not a conflict. Yes, sir. After the officer left, Thos spoke quietly. Sir, if one colony system has that much development, what must Earth itself be like? That is exactly what worries me, Kresh replied. We are seeing the edges of human civilization, and it already looks formidable. The center must be even more impressive. What should we do? Kresh thought carefully before answering. We proceed as planned. We meet with their council tomorrow. We ask our questions and listen very carefully to their answers, and we wait for the full scout reports from Earth. Until we know exactly what we are dealing with, we treat these humans with respect and caution. And if Earth turns out to be a major threat? Then we hope that Captain Morrison really does want peace, Kresh said grimly. Because fighting a war with an enemy we know nothing about would be foolish. And the Kravix Empire did not survive for 3 centuries by being foolish. Back in the guest quarters, Jake received a private communication on his personal device. It was encrypted heavily, but the message was simple. The 3 Earth ships had entered the outer edge of Kravix space. They were staying hidden and gathering information, but they were close enough to respond if needed. Jake felt relieved. The mission was going well so far, but having backup nearby made him feel better. Earth had sent some of its best ships and crews. If things went wrong, at least the Kravix would learn that humans did not send their people out alone and unprotected. Everything okay? Lisa asked, noticing his expression. Better than okay, Jake said with a smile. Our friends are nearby, just in case. You really think we might need them? No. I think the Kravix are smart enough to choose friendship over conflict. But it is always good to have insurance, Chris laughed. Insurance? That is one way to describe 3 heavy cruisers armed to the teeth. The best kind of insurance, Ben added. The kind you hope you never need but are very glad to have. Karen looked up from her computer. I have been analyzing the Kravix communication networks. They have a very structured society with clear hierarchies. The Imperial Council has 5 members, and they make all major decisions. If we can convince them that cooperation benefits the Empire, the rest will follow. Then that is what we focus on tomorrow, Jake said. We show them that Empire on edge, unknown ship detected. It's not an object. It's moving fast! The council chamber was designed to impress visitors. The ceiling stretched 30 meters high with windows that showed the stars beyond. 5 elevated seats sat in a semicircle, each occupied by one of the most powerful beings in the Kravix Empire. In the center of the floor, 5 humans stood calmly, looking small but not diminished. Counselor Iresh was the eldest member, her scales showing the pale color of advanced age. She had served on the council for 50 years and had seen the Empire grow from 12 systems to 17. She looked at the humans with ancient eyes that had judged countless beings before them. Captain Morrison, she began, her voice carrying easily through the vast chamber. You and your crew have traveled a great distance to reach us. You have crossed our empire with impressive speed, and now you stand before the Imperial Council asking for diplomatic relations. Tell us why we should trust you. Jake stepped forward slightly. He knew this moment was critical. Counselor Iresh, we do not ask you to trust us immediately. Trust must be earned over time. What we ask is that you give us the opportunity to prove ourselves. We offer knowledge, technology, and friendship. In return, we hope to learn from your long experience and establish trade that benefits both our peoples. Counselor Vex, A younger member with bright green scales leaned forward. You speak of trade and knowledge, but you have shown us nothing. For all we know, your offers are empty. Why should we believe you have anything valuable to share? Dr. Karen Wright spoke up. With your permission, counselor, I can demonstrate. She held up a small data device. This contains detailed information about human medical technology. We have made significant progress in treating genetic diseases and extending healthy lifespans. We also have advanced agricultural techniques that increase food production while using less land. These are just samples of what we could share. And what would you want in return? Asked Counselor Drex, a military officer who had earned his seat through battlefield victories. Your knowledge of this region of space, Lisa answered. Navigation data, information about other species, cultural insights. We are new here and we have much to learn. We also see potential for trade in raw materials and manufactured goods. Your empire spans multiple systems with different resources. Earth has its own unique materials and products. Trade would make both our peoples wealthier. Counselor Zhen, an expert in economics and trade, showed interest in this. You mention unique materials. What does Earth produce that we might want? Ben stepped forward with a small container. With your permission, I brought samples. Zhen gestured for a guard to collect the container and bring it to the council. Ben continued. These are examples of human materials science. Super-strong alloys, radiation-resistant ceramics, and computer components that operate at very high speeds. We also produce cultural items like art, music, and literature that might interest your people. The counselors examined the samples with obvious interest. Even through their careful diplomatic masks, Jake could see they were impressed. These materials are indeed sophisticated, Zhen admitted. But we could eventually develop similar things ourselves. Why should we trade for them? Time, Jake said simply. It might take you years or decades to develop these materials independently. Why wait when you could have them now? And while you are using our materials, we would be benefiting from your knowledge. Everyone gains, and nobody has to waste time reinventing what already exists. The fifth counselor, Court, had been silent until now. He was the newest member of the council and the most suspicious of outsiders. You speak well, Captain Morrison. But words are easy. Let me ask you a harder question. Your ship crossed our empire in 3 days. Your technology appears to be very advanced. Why have we never heard of humanity before? Where have you been hiding? We have not been hiding, Jake replied calmly. We have been far away. 20,000 light years is a great distance. Until recently, humans did not have faster-than-light travel at all. We developed our warp drive only 30 years ago. Since then, we have been exploring cautiously, establishing colonies, and searching for other intelligent life. You are the first large civilization we have encountered. The first? Court sounded doubtful. In 5 years of exploration? We found ruins of extinct civilizations, Chris explained. And we met a few small groups of beings on various planets. But nothing like the Kravix Empire. You have ships, stations, multiple worlds working together. This is the first time we have met a spacefaring civilization at our level or beyond. At your level or beyond, Court repeated. An interesting way to phrase it. Are you claiming to be our equals? The chamber became very quiet. This was a dangerous moment. The wrong answer could offend the council's pride. Jake chose his words carefully. We are different, Counselor Court. In some areas, humans have made advances that might interest you. In other areas, the Kravix clearly have more experience and knowledge. We are like neighbors with different skills. One neighbor might be a better farmer while the other is a better builder. Both have value. Both can teach the other. That is what we mean by equals. Not that we are the same, but that we both have worth. Iresh's expression softened slightly. A diplomatic answer, Captain. But let me ask you a harder question. What if we said no? What if the Imperial Council decided we do not want relations with Earth? Would you accept that decision peacefully? Yes, Jake said without hesitation. We would be disappointed, but we would respect your choice. We would leave your space and not return without permission. Earth does not force itself on others. However, I hope it does not come to that. I believe cooperation would benefit everyone involved. And if we tried to take your technology by force? Drex asked bluntly. If we decided to capture your ship and study it? The humans remained calm, but Jake noticed his crew subtly adjusting their positions. Lisa's hand moved closer to her sidearm. Ben shifted his weight to a more balanced stance. They were prepared for trouble but not looking for it. That would be unfortunate, Jake said quietly. The Freedom's Call has defensive systems that would make capture difficult. And even if you succeeded, you would gain a damaged ship and lose a chance for friendship. Earth would learn what happened to us. Future relations would be impossible. You would make an enemy instead of an ally. That seems like a poor trade, Counselor Drex. Are you threatening us? Drex's eyes narrowed. No, sir. I am explaining consequences. There is a difference. We came here in peace and we hope to leave in peace. But we are not helpless victims waiting to be conquered. We are capable people representing a capable world. Trying to take what we offer freely would cost more than it is worth. Vex spoke up. You show remarkable confidence for 5 beings surrounded by an empire of trillions. Confidence comes from preparation, Lisa said. We did not come here blindly. We studied your broadcasts, learned your language, and understood your culture before making contact. We knew the risks and we came anyway because we believe the potential rewards are worth it. That is not arrogance. That is calculated courage. Yuresh raised a hand, silencing the other counselors. You have answered our questions well. Now I have one final question, and I want complete honesty. What is Earth really like? Not the diplomatic version. The truth. How many people? How many ships? How powerful is your military? Jake took a breath. This was the moment he had been preparing for. The moment when they had to reveal enough truth to be taken seriously without revealing so much that they seemed like a threat. Earth has 12 billion people, he said. We have colonized our moon, 3 other planets in our home system, and established 11 colony systems beyond. We have cities in orbit and stations throughout our territory. Our military fleet has 400 ships of various sizes. We have defensive installations protecting our key locations. We are not the largest civilization in the galaxy, but we are not small either. We are strong enough to defend ourselves, but young enough to still have much to learn. The counselors exchanged glances. Jake could not read all their expressions, but he saw surprise on several faces. 400 ships, Zhen said slowly. That is more than many established empires possess. We build things well, Ben said simply. It is a human trait. When we commit to something, we do it thoroughly. Court looked suspicious. And you expect us to believe one of these 400 ships just happened to find us? Not just happened, Karen corrected. We sent 12 exploration vessels in different directions. Each one is searching a different region of space. Eventually, all of them will report back to Earth with what they found. We were the lucky ship that found you first. Lucky, Yuresh said, and there might have been a hint of humor in her voice. Is that what you call it? Yes, Counselor, Jake said with a smile. Because meeting the Kravix Empire is exactly what we hoped for. A sophisticated civilization that values order and prosperity. A people who have maintained stability across multiple worlds. That kind of success does not happen by accident. It comes from wisdom and strength. Those are qualities humans respect and want to learn from. Yuresh stood from her seat, which made all the humans pay close attention. When the eldest counselor stood, it meant something important was about to happen. Empire on edge, unknown ship detected. It's not an object.
It's moving fast.
Admiral Kresh stood in his office watching the sun rise over Kravos Prime. He had not slept much. The full scout reports from Earth had arrived an hour ago, and they had changed everything. General Thos entered quietly, carrying a secure data tablet. The council is meeting in 1 hour to make their final decision. Have you read the reports? 3 times, Kresh said. I still can barely believe them. Should we inform the council? They already know. I sent the reports to them immediately. Kresh turned from the window. 12 billion humans, 73 orbital cities, 400 warships, and they achieved all of this in less than 200 years of spaceflight. The Kravix Empire took 3,000 years to reach our current level, Thos said quietly. Exactly, which means either humanity is incredibly lucky or incredibly talented. I suspect it is the latter. Thos set down the tablet. Our scouts observed their home system from a safe distance. Earth is protected by layers of defense satellites and weapon platforms. Any invasion would face tremendous casualties before reaching the planet. And their shipyards are producing new vessels constantly. They are still expanding. What about their colonies? All well-developed and self-sufficient. They have mining operations on asteroids, agricultural stations, research facilities. Everything is organized efficiently. The humans are excellent at logistics and planning. Kresh sat down heavily. We thought Captain Morrison was bluffing when he implied Earth could defend itself. He was not. If anything, he was being modest. So what do we do, Admiral? We do what the Council will surely decide. We become friends with these humans instead of enemies, because fighting them would be a disaster for everyone involved. Meanwhile, in the guest quarters, Jake was having a similar conversation with his crew. The scout ships made contact, Lisa reported, reading from her encrypted communicator. They introduced themselves to Kravik's border patrols and requested permission to join us here. They were very polite about it. How did the Kraviks react? Chris asked, shocked mostly. They did not expect 3 more human ships to appear, but they granted permission after confirming the ships were really from Earth. Ben laughed. I bet that got their attention. 1 human ship is interesting, 4 human ships is a statement. What kind of ships did Earth send? Karen wanted to know. 3 heavy cruisers. The Lincoln, the Mandela, and the Sagan. Good ships with experienced crews. Jake smiled. Earth does not do anything halfway. They sent the best to back us up. Do you think we will need the backup? Chris looked worried. No, Jake said confidently. The Kraviks are smart. By now they have scouted Earth and seen what we have. They know fighting us would be costly and pointless. They will choose cooperation. You sound very certain. I am. Look at their history. The Kravik's empire has lasted 300 years because they make good decisions. They know when to fight and when to negotiate. They are facing a choice between a potentially dangerous enemy and a potentially valuable ally. The smart choice is obvious. A guard knocked on the door. Captain Morrison, the Imperial Council requests your presence. They have reached a decision. The 5 humans exchanged glances. This was it. The moment that would determine the future of human and Kravik's relations. Well, Lisa said, straightening her uniform. Let us go find out if we made friends or started a problem. They were escorted back to the council chamber. This time the atmosphere felt different. Less tense, though still formal. The 5 counselors sat in their elevated seats and Jake noticed that all of them looked tired, as if they had been debating all night. Counselor Irish spoke first. Captain Morrison, this council has spent many hours discussing your proposal. We have reviewed all available information about Earth and humanity. We have consulted our military advisors, our economic experts, and our cultural specialists. We have even received reports from scout ships that visited your home system. Jake kept his expression neutral, though he had expected this. Of course, the Kraviks would investigate Earth. He would have done the same thing. What we found surprised us, Irish continued. Earth is not a small outpost or a minor civilization. You are a significant power with impressive technological capabilities. You have achieved in decades what takes most species centuries. This is both remarkable and somewhat concerning. Concerning, Counselor? Jake asked carefully. Yes, because it means humanity is either very lucky or very dangerous. Possibly both. Resh paused. But after much deliberation, this council has decided that humanity represents an opportunity rather than a threat. We choose to see you as potential friends rather than potential enemies. Jake felt relief flood through him but kept his voice steady. We are honored by your decision, Counselor. Earth will work hard to prove we deserve your friendship. Counselor Jen stood up. We are prepared to offer a formal diplomatic agreement. We will exchange ambassadors, establish trade relations, and share certain technological information. We will recognize Earth's territory and you will recognize ours. We will be partners, not rivals. That is exactly what we hoped for, Lisa said with genuine warmth in her voice. Counselor Drex added, but understand this. We are offering friendship, not weakness. If humanity betrays our trust or threatens the Empire, we will respond with full force. The Kraviks did not build our civilization by being soft. We understand completely, Jake said. Earth has no desire to threaten anyone. We seek mutual prosperity and shared security. Strong friends make everyone safer. Counselor Vex smiled slightly. You speak like a diplomat now, Captain Morrison. But we know you and your crew are also warriors. We respect that. Warriors who seek peace are more valuable than politicians who promise what they cannot deliver. We prefer to solve problems with words, Ben said. But we train with weapons because sometimes words are not enough. It is simply being prepared for reality. A wise philosophy, Irish agreed. Now let us discuss practical matters. Your ship Freedom's Call will be permitted to remain in Kravik space as a diplomatic vessel. The 3 ships that arrived last night will also be welcome. We propose establishing a formal embassy on Kravos Prime, where human representatives can work with our government. Earth will be very pleased to establish an embassy here, Jake confirmed, and we hope the Kravik's Empire will consider sending representatives to Earth as well. We would be honored to host your ambassadors. That can be arranged, Jen said. We also wish to begin trade discussions immediately. The material samples you provided show promise. We are interested in acquiring certain human technologies in exchange for Kravik's goods and knowledge. Karen stepped forward. I have prepared detailed catalogs of human technologies that we are willing to share. These include medical techniques, materials science, computer systems, and agricultural methods. We are very interested in learning about Kravik's navigation systems, energy generation, and your experience with other species in this region. A fair exchange, Jen said with satisfaction. We will assign trade negotiators to work with you. Counselor Court, who had been skeptical from the beginning, finally spoke. I admit I had doubts about humanity, but your actions have been consistent with your words. You came seeking peace and you behaved peacefully. You showed strength without aggression. You answered our questions honestly. These are qualities we respect. Thank you, Counselor, Jake said. Respect is earned through actions, not just words. We hope to continue earning your respect in the future. Resh raised her hand in a gesture of formal conclusion. Then let it be recorded. On this day, the Kravik's Empire and the Human Federation of Earth establish formal diplomatic relations. We will be friends and partners in the exploration and development of this galaxy. May this friendship bring prosperity to both our peoples. All 5 counselors stood and bowed slightly. The humans returned the bow with respect. As they left the council chamber, Chris let out a breath he had been holding. We actually did it. We made first contact and nobody started shooting. That is how it should be, Karen said happily. 2 civilizations meeting and choosing cooperation over conflict. Do not celebrate too much yet, Lisa cautioned. This is just the beginning. Now we have to make the friendship actually work. That might be harder than getting them to agree to it. She is right, Jake agreed, but it is a good start. Earth will be proud of what we accomplished here. Back in his office, Admiral Kresh met with General Thoss one final time to discuss the day's events. The council made the right choice, Thoss said. Humanity is too strong to fight and too valuable to ignore. Partnership was the only logical option. I agree, Kresh said, but I think there is more to it than logic. I believe Counselor Iresh genuinely sees value in what humans can teach us. Their energy, their innovation, their determination. These are qualities the Kravik's Empire needs as we move forward. You think we are becoming too conservative? Too cautious? Perhaps. We have been the dominant power here for so long that we stopped pushing ourselves to improve. The humans arrived and reminded us that there is always room for growth. That is a valuable lesson, Thoss smiled. It is strange to think that 3 days ago we saw them as a potential threat. Now they are allies. Not allies yet, Kresh corrected, but friends. And friendship can grow into,